Present.
Trustee Lyota?
Present.
Trustee Carwill absent. Trustee Belakapitsky?
Present.
Trustee Heffer?
Present.
Attorney Legnar?
Present.
I like hearing that trustee Heffer. Could we have a motion to excuse the absentee?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. We have no one signed up for public forum. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our regular board meeting on December 16th and our annual organizational meeting on January 6th. Everyone has a copy. Does anyone have any corrections?
Barb gave me a couple,
Okay.
just names,
Very
wrong
minor.
name.
Okay. With those corrections, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So
Make a
moved.
motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the police activity report. Everyone has a copy. Does anyone have any questions? I don't have any answers if you do. Could I have a motion to accept the police activity report?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the fire department report for the month of December. And we also had the chief here, and he was going to do a presentation on his annual report. He's got his laptop, everything set up, and he got called to a fire and water relief. So maybe we'll see if he'll come back next month. Everyone has a copy. Could I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next on the agenda is the approval of claims. Everyone has a copy. Does anyone have any questions? Anthony's here, and I'm sure between him and Maggie, they can answer just about anything. If not, could I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. We have no adjustments to the water billing. So next will be consideration of the monthly report by the treasurer. Everyone has a copy. Anyone have any questions for Anthony?
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I like that interest you're making, Anthony. That's good stuff. Could I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the monthly report of the Parking Violations Bureau. Everyone has a copy. Could I have a motion to accept?
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the annual report from the Fire and Building Inspector. And we have Maggie and Todd both here if anyone has any questions on anything. Todd, the one thing I was going to ask is on the complaint things, that's complaints that people call in about property, something being wrong someplace, correct? They're not complaining about us.
No, never. It's usually it's a code violation. Either somebody called or I saw it when I was out.
Okay, okay. Because they went way up, so it's like, just wanted to clarify that. Any other questions? If not, could I have a motion to accept the annual report from the Fire and Building Inspector?
I'll make the motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the annual report from the Section 8 Administrator. Dag, do you have any comments on that, or?
I don't. This is pretty general. Typically, this was a report that Ted Knifka would provide yearly, but Mastriani has provided it this year. Basically, just an overview of how many Section 8 apartments we have, how many poured in, the basics from same as usual.
Does anyone have any questions? If not, could I have a motion to accept the annual report from the Section 8 Administrator?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is certification of the list of unpaid taxes by the Board of Trustees for 2024-25. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, these are the unpaid village taxes, the 2024 village taxes. So when they are unpaid by November 1st, we then re-levy them to the Albany County, and they will appear or have appeared on the 2025 county tax bill.
So the county will
The county,
reimburse us.
yes, pays us.
Any questions? If not, could I have a motion to certify the list of unpaid taxes by the Board of Trustees?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of a renewal of the lease between the Village of Green Island and the Town of Green Island for 2025. There's been no change in rent. Everyone has a copy. Any questions? If not, could I have a motion to renew the lease?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of renewal of the lease between the Village of Green Island and the Green Island Power Authority for 2025. There's been no change in rent. And just to make a note, the deputy mayor signs this because Kristen's the CEO, and I don't want there to be any conflict because I'm on that board also. So Vic is going to sign that if it gets approved. So could I have a motion to renew the lease between the Village of Green Island and the Green Island Power Authority?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the municipal services agreement between the Village of Green Island and the Green Island Senior Citizens for 2025. There's been no changes on services or fees. Does anyone have any questions? If not, could I have a motion to renew the municipal service agreement with the Village and the Green Island Seniors?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Albany County Youth Bureau. This is an annual grant reimbursement for the park program. I don't know, Mag, if you want to say.
Yeah, it's a very small grant, but we do participate in it annually. Basically, we submit for reimbursement for staff salaries. I believe this year's total is $3,000.
So every little bit helps.
Yes.
And it
I just said the same thing.
It
Yeah.
provides good jobs for the kids in the summertime, so it's a good thing. Could I have a motion to authorize me to sign the contract with the Albany Youth?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Consideration of authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Clough Harbor for consulting engineering services. These are folks that they kind of go over everything with our planning board and all different things before we approve anything. I don't know, Mag, if you want to say anything.
Yeah, CHA we typically use, this is an annual agreement also. Mostly we use them for site plan review, our stormwater review, SWIP plans. But when we do have commercial development, industrial development in the North End, they'll also review the building plans in conjunction with Gary Nathan, our village engineer. So this is, the contract itself is the same as previous years. There's a small increase in fees and they only range from $5 to $25.
But on our bigger projects, the developer actually pays for it.
And site plan review, the developer pays for the review, yes.
Anyone have any questions? If not, could I have a motion to authorize me to enter into the contract with CHA?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of ratifying an easement renewal affidavit with the New York State OGS for the Hudson River. This is I'll let Mag explain it.
Yeah, so this was time sensitive. We only had 30 days from the time we received it to get it back in, so we didn't want to miss the deadline, so we're asking to ratify the agreement. This was a 25-year easement between the Village of Green Island and New York State OGS. We have a sewer and water main that goes from Center Island, submerged in the Hudson, over to the treatment plant. So basically, because we've made no modifications or alterations to the main, we can easily just renew this easement with no changes for another 25 years.
I have a question. So it's just for that sewer line?
Because it's in the river.
No, I understand that, but it's nothing for like our water lines or anything like that come from over there either? It's just the sewer line for Center Island?
No, it's water and sewer.
Oh, okay.
Water and sewer.
All right.
Mhm.
And
Basically, any mains.
when you
submerged
read,
in
when
the
I read
Hudson.
the information here, it said something about like a little, so what does it go through, like a little piece of land under the water?
Well, I think it depends on how the tide is. So
Oh.
from the island to here, it could be dry, it could be
Oh.
submerged underwater, but it's that area between Center Island and the bank of Hudson Ave.
Thank you.
You're talking the north part of Center Island.
Correct.
Well, it's here 25 years, so I won't be here for the next renewal. Could I have a motion to,
Yes, you will.
to ratify the easement for the renewal of New York State OGS for the Hudson River?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried.
And you'll still be mayor.
Next is consideration of appointing Stormwater Coalition of Albany County Board of to the Albany County Board of Representatives, and it would be Maggie Alex, Gary Nathan, Todd Ward, Tony Caesar, and Kristen Swinton.
Yes, this is the same as past years. We're required to just identify who has the authority to represent the village in, I sit on the board of directors, and Gary and Todd typically are my backups if I'm not unable to attend, but Gary and Todd typically attend the working group meetings. They're monthly, and then we also have Kristen and Tony in there just because they do, you know, with planning board, there's a lot of MS4 requirements, and Tony really is ultimately the one that maintains our infrastructure for stormwater. So we just want to keep all of our bases covered.
Any questions? If not, could I have a motion to consider those appointments?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hazen and Sawyer for engineering and grant writing services contingent on the review and approval by council.
So we are getting closer to having an agreement. We have selected Hazen and Sawyer to be the engineering firm to lead us through the necessary upgrades to the water treatment plant. We met last week, and we do have a game plan for moving forward. Their agreement has come to our attention. We have done an initial review, but it does need to be tweaked just to make sure that it's in the best interest of the village as well as the engineer. So I can say by the time we meet again, hope that agreement will be in place and we'll be moving forward as our first deadline approaches February 12th. So we're just looking to see if we can enter into the contract once we sign off on it, and then certainly once it's approved, we will share a copy with everyone.
And it's time sensitive on this. We have deadlines to meet on everything. That's why we can't wait until next month. So once everybody agrees on everything, we want to be able to enter into the contract so we can get moving on this thing. Does anyone have any questions? If not, could I have a motion to enter into the contract with Hazen and Sawyer?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of authorization to sponsor Patrick Lorenz to attend the Zone 5 Regional Law Enforcement Training Academy. This is a fellow, we had an interview with him today. Both Chief Parker and Chief Rice came to us, and they've known this guy for years. He's 51 years old. He's a Marine. He heads the Toys for Tots thing. He actually, the way I understood it, he actually goes back into active duty for 3 months during that time. But he was a police officer for many years, but he's been away from it long enough that he has to go back to the academy to be recertified. He's I can't remember the name of the paramedic that he is, but he goes on helicopters and everything. And I said to him, why at 51 would you want to put yourself through 6 months in the academy? I mean, it's rigorous training. And he said, because he said there's so many things we go on now that if I'm a police officer and there's a crime committed or whatever, there's no question about the chain of evidence and things like that. So you know what, they go into these situations as paramedics, and bad things happen to the paramedics in it. So it's good to have paramedics that also have law enforcement background, that they can protect themselves. So, and the good thing is, he's 51 years old, so if he gets through all this is the only place he's going to work as a cop, because a lot of other places, you know,
Civil service won't let him.
Yeah. But I think he's a very nice gentleman, and I just think his reasons are all the right reasons to wanna go back and do something like this, so. I was impressed with him today.
Yes, and I think one of the major things to point out is he is accruing all the costs to do the
Yes.
academy. He did need a sponsor, and that's why we're stepping forward to sponsor him, but he has agreed to pay all costs associated with going to the academy.
That was a very important
Yeah.
point, I forgot to mention.
Well, like Ellen said, he's a full-time EMT with the Saratoga County, in Saratoga County. He's on the Saratoga County Sheriff Department SWAT team. And we ourselves have been trying to get our SWAT team off the ground. We have an agreement between Watervliet, Manans, and Green Island for a SWAT team. And actually, EJ was going to serve as the medic on that SWAT team until he became fire chief, so he could fill the role of this, which is required in order to get that SWAT team up and running as well.
And he also does all the wiring on police cars for all
Yes.
of their stuff, so, and he's willing to make himself available for anything that we need, so.
He's an EMT and
Yeah.
CPR trainer too, so we
Yeah.
wouldn't have to pay costs to bring someone in to do training. He could also provide some of that training as well.
Anyone have any questions?
Nope, you killed every question. Because we haven't put anybody through the academy.
Well, we made a decision
Yeah.
a number of years ago, we weren't gonna put anybody through
We
the
put
academy
them through
because
and then
they
they
work
go
for 6
someplace
months
else,
and then
yeah.
they're gone.
Okay.
So it just doesn't
Now,
pay
this sounds
us to
very
do it,
win-win.
so. So could I have a motion to authorize us to have Patrick Lorenz go to the Zone 5
Make a
school?
motion.
Make the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Next is consideration of the monthly recap from DPW and GIPA for November, in December, and then December to January 16th. You got 2 months of stuff in there, and these guys are busy all the time, and this weekend was a perfect example of how busy they are. They were out all night long, the night of the snowstorm, and they worked all the next day, which was a holiday. And thank God that they did, because we had a porch fire on Hudson Avenue, and it was one of the plow drivers that discovered it. And it was from a discarded cigarette, and they sent some pictures. If those plow drivers hadn't been going through, we would have had a house fire like we had on Payne Street. Because our houses are old stock, and they go up real fast. So, as much as I don't like the snow, thank you God for sending it, because it probably saved a major fire and possibly loss of life, so. Does anyone have any questions on their recap? If not, could I have a motion to accept the recap?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Do we have any other business? Does the board wish to discuss anything? I just want to tell everybody that we're having not us, the fire department and Heatley School are working together this Saturday. They are doing the 2nd annual basketball game for a cause, and their donation this year is to the American Heart Association in memory of Isaiah Avery. He was an elementary school student that died this past year from heart issues. And so they're going to raise the money and make the donation, and it's Saturday. It starts at 11. They're doing 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 1 o'clock. And it's not going to be as long as it was last year. It went on a little too long last year.
Yeah,
I thought we were
double
going to have to do
donation.
CPR on a couple of people. You know, one game is enough for each one, and then the championship.
You're
So.
only a year older now.
Yeah,
It can-
exactly.
Well, I'm on the school team, so.
Are you?
So be afraid.
Okay.
Be afraid. I'm gonna do just like what I did in high school. I'm gonna sit on the bench, wear my shirt, and
And cheer.
cheer.
Well, the good thing is you got all these firemen that are paramedics, so if something does happen, and we
Thank goodness for that.
We got them all there, so. And it's very reasonable. It's $2 a person, $5 for family, but they're also gonna have refreshments, and they're also gonna have raffles
Raffle baskets.
and things like that. So it's a good cause to support. And I have to say, I'm very grateful for the cooperation that we're getting from the school, because the school and the village are working very well together, and keeping one another informed about what's going on. So I'm very happy with it. And we have a meeting with them once a month, Maggie and I, and if the chief is available, he gets up, and it's a good situation. There's good communication. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
It is a good cause. Isaiah was one of my music students,
Uh-huh.
so it's near and dear to me. So if you can have people turn out, that would be
Yep.
great. It was fine, you can.
And even if you wanna go and make a little more of a donation, that's perfectly acceptable too. So-
And there's still room if anybody wants to play.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be happening here.
Yeah.
If they wanted a cheerleader, I'm happy to do
Right.
that.
I'll ref from the bench.
I'll be,
Yeah.
I'll be behind your,
Just to notice, our next meeting is on a Tuesday again because of a Monday holiday, so it's February 18th. It's 6:20, or if we don't have any planning board, it's right after the GIPA board meeting. So everyone just keep that in mind, and our GIPA meetings are usually 3 to 5 minutes, so you might want to be here by 6. So, if there's no further business, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Everybody, please, stay warm, watch that ice. Some of us don't bounce like we used to.
No.
We just go thump.